Good morning. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Hope everyone is well. Happy Wednesday, hump day, I think they call it. Yeah, happy hump day to you. So let me get sorted on the chair. Guys and girls, I must make a massive apology to start this show off. A huge apology. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I'm so sorry. There was me thinking that bringing in a new manager that likes to build, that likes to play with quick, hungry players, that likes to play attacking football, that has signed a 4-year contract. I believed that this manager would be given the time and support and the backing and would calm the fan base down. How wrong was I? If anything, it's just getting worse and worse. The number of people that really don't seem to understand what Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is now, who we've become. The very reasons they didn't want Postecoglou were the exact same reasons they would want a Slot or an Amorim or a Gallardo. Last word on Spurs, by the way. I say last word on Spurs. They put out a post from The Athletic this morning, and I'm going to read it. And the post have actually said this. The Athletic have said this. They said that Tottenham's managerial hunt was only between two candidates. It was between Postecoglou, who was in a job, and Luis Enrique, who wasn't. Ultimately, the board felt that Postecoglou was the right man for where the club is right now, and that Julian Nagelsmann ultimately said no to an interview at Tottenham Hotspur. Can this go some way to now stopping people saying that just should have got this manager and that manager? Can this go some way to doing that? Can we now get on board with each other? Can we unite as a fan base? Because it does feel a bit futile now, people going, oh, we should have got this man, should have got that man, because unfortunately, it's like when a transfer window shuts. This is what you've got. You either get behind him or you don't. You know, it seems crazy. It seems crazy to me. Any questions that people have got, please put them in the chat. We'll have a nice little conversation this morning. Let's. Where do we start? Lots of rumours about Harry Maguire, and I know how people feel about it. But lots of conversations about Harry Maguire. The good news is, people, that. Let me start again. Sorry, completely deep in thought there. The good news is that I'm not seeing it from any respectable outlets. I'm not seeing it from an Ornstein. I've not seen it from a Romano. So at the moment, I'm quietly confident. Let's just see what's happened in the world of football this morning so far. Let's see. Romano has said that Kim Min-jae is on the list for Man United. So expect there to be some sort of a bid there for that. Junior Firpo is leaving Leeds. Who else? N'Golo Kante, as we all know, has now moved to Saudi Arabia. Alexis McAllister has completed his medical at Liverpool. Celtic's midfielder Matt O'Reilly is attracting interest from England and Germany. Brighton being one of the clubs to consider him. Now, this was a player that I think a few of us talked about yesterday that I said I'd like to see. I've been quietly impressed with what I've seen with this guy. But yet, lots of people said, oh, he's from Celtic. You can't get him. He's from Celtic. Well, we just got a Celtic manager, so why can't we get a player from Celtic? Henrik Larsson played in Celtic. Brian Laudrup, Cillian Petrov, Paul Gascoigne, Philippe Albert. Some top players have gone there. Doesn't mean they're terrible just because they play in Celtic. Let's have a look and see who we've got in the chat this morning. We've got Payne Like Bane. Big up. I love the picture. I love the name. And here he is back again, saying I'd rather sack Harry, proved himself Maguire. Kudos said, if this club signs Harry Maguire, I swear down, I'm not watching this season. Yeah, I'm starting to get the feeling that I understand where people are coming from with this one. By the way, people, please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are on our way to 6,000. We're getting there slowly but surely. Good morning to Sue Smith, who's in the chat. Good morning to Wolves Finland, who said, I think Maguire could be a decent signing for Spurs. But because player has reputation in public view, some Spurs fans don't want that banter for rivals. They defo start bantering if the move happens. Look, I think the one thing I would say is if Harry Maguire moves, we've seen it before when players have been poor, moved to another club and done well. But I think the problem we've got, Wolves Finland, is we're always in the news for being bantered. So I think if we had a very settled team that was doing well and you had one risk in Harry Maguire coming in and the manager wanted that, I'd accept it. I think where we are at the moment in terms of needing to build from the ground up, I'm just not sure this is your guy. I'm not sure. I think him and Romero in a back two together just screams to me of calamity. I don't want that at all. That's just me. Sue's gone one further. She's talking about Dyer and Maguire. Sue's dropping Romero for Dyer. Just joking, Sue. Just joking. Hope you're well. Kudos has said Maguire ain't good enough, full stop. We should be looking at younger centre halves of pace. Completely agree with you. I think we need pace. We need an injection of pace across the team. Let me know, by the way, guys. I like to read out people's comments. I like to get people's questions in. So if people don't like that, let me know. But I just feel it's important as YouTubers that we're nothing special, right? YouTubers are just football fans with a platform. So I think it's important that everyone gets their voice heard and read. So hopefully, Wilson said, I think Maguire could be much better than Dyer. I think he's better than Dyer. I do. I just don't know if it's enough of an improvement to buy him. Let's have a look. Who else have we got in the chat? Reese Morgan has said apparently Kane wants him because they are mates. Yeah, I saw that, Reese. I'm not sure I buy into that, but let's be honest. Has Harry Kane got that pull at Tottenham? It's a new manager, right? We've got no director of football. Has he got that pull at the moment when his career is up in the air? I'm not sure, but we'll find out. This is my problem with it, Wolves Finland. Imagine the Nutter Romero and oil tanker Maguire. Yep. Strasbourg Steve, big up mate, has said there is absolutely no chance Postecoglou would sign off on signing the biggest doofus in English football. Sorry, really dry there. I've seen stranger things happen at Spurs, Steve, but I really hope this is true. That's assuming that Postecoglou is going to be allowed to sign off. Here he is, Phil P, giving it the old woo. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, it is, of course, this guy. It is Ric Flair, the nature boy. Where were we? We have got Daryl Denton. Big up, Daryl. Always been a big supporter of the channel. Has said, Steve, you still don't get our club. It's Levy who's the manager. Postecoglou is just a head coach. Johan has said, I guess Maguire is an upgrade on Dyer. Hod God 10 has said, he's a good player, comfortable on the ball, good in the air, and possible captain material. A new club might sort him out. Enoch out. Now, listen, I think this goes to show, doesn't it, that there's always more than one way to look at a situation. There's always more than one way. A level-headed opinion. Listen, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if he does join, there's nothing we can do about it. Do I want him? No. If Postecoglou wants him, cool. Let's see. Let's see where we go with this one. Derek Hudson has said Dyer and Maguire together would be like Nightmare on Elm Street. I just can't believe Postecoglou would want to start off his Spurs reign with these two at the back. And, you know, Romero is still there. Mark said, good day, Savva. Just throwing another shrimp on the barbie. Big up to Mark Cousins. How are you, my man? Hope you are well. Brunner said, yes, please sign Harry Maguire. I might be a United fan, though. Might be a Man United fan, or you are a Man United fan. Sorry for the very dressed down attire today, guys, as well. But I don't normally wear training tops, but I'm off to the gym afterwards. Strasbourg has said, "Hot God 10, your optimism is admirable, but so many managers failed to realise to sort him out because there isn't anything there." I'm going to ask this question to you all, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate as the host. Other than the last 18 months, has Maguire always been this terrible defender, or has he just gone through a bad patch? I'm just asking. Don't shoot me. I'm just asking. Joanna said he's not the long-term answer, but he's good in the air. But you need the right players around him. And I think this is what I was saying yesterday. I think he'd be good in a back three. I don't want Spurs to play a back three. I think like when we see him playing for England, I think he's got in that back three where you have Kyle Walker as the kind of tucked in right side and John Stones. I think you've got both of those two are very good on the ball. Both of them are very quick. Both of them are very solid defenders. I think that helps the recovery. That then allows Maguire to simply just be the big guy in there that heads everything away. But in a back two, can you have that? I'm not so sure you can. Who else have we got in the chat? Nate has said, exactly, Nate. It says, Savva, you're not allowed an opinion because you're not a pundit. Yeah, that's what someone told me yesterday. I'm not a pundit. My opinion doesn't mean anything. as we were. Guys and girls, please keep smashing the subscribe button. Please smash the like button. I always feel that I get really good support, but never good on likes, which is a bit disheartening. But there's 185 you in here and only 38 likes. Let's smash that like button, people. And hopefully you'll notice I'm one of the only YouTubers that in the middle of shows doesn't chuck in millions and millions of adverts when I could. Just saying. Sean Egan, big up my man, and said, good evening, Savva from Australia, is that? Or Austria? Australia. Hope all is well, mate. As an act of desperation, I would take Maguire considering the chaff we currently have. Look, there's this way to look at it. Is he better than what we've got? Does that mean we should just buy him? Personally, I'd like to go for some younger, quicker players. I really, really would. I would have liked the likes of Sven Botman. I'd like a Guehi. I'd like that type of player. But hey, let's see. This is all going to be down to what Postecoglou and the new director of football decide. That's a great name. I don't know if I can pronounce that. Kane Kio Gachia has said Eric Dyer, Sanchez, Romero, and now Maguire. Yeah, it doesn't look great, does it? It really, really doesn't. Let's have a look. Jay Jr. said, as I said yesterday, I'm excited for Ange, but my concern is we don't change the 11 enough this season. He bought 14 players to Celtic in his first 12 months. That's what we need. Well, listen, Jay Jr., let's have a look. I mean, let's be fair. The guy's been in the job for less than 24 hours. I think it was about 10:30 yesterday that he signed. Let's be honest. There's going to be a big summer ahead. We've got 9 weeks, just under 9 weeks or whatever it is till the first game. There's going to be a lot going out. I think a lot of people are so burnt by Levy that they say, oh, no one's leaving. Of course, players are leaving. Of course, players are coming in. But it's, are we going to give him young, hungry players? When I'm saying young, by the way, I'm not saying they all have to be 19. I'm cool if you want to bring in 23, 24-year-olds. I don't care if you bring in a few 27-year-olds. But are we going to give him players with that engine, with that desire to want to play for Tottenham Hotspur? Because I watch Kulu. He doesn't look like he wants to play for Spurs, if I'm honest. Romero doesn't look like he wants to play for Spurs. Perisic didn't look bothered. So many of them just didn't look bothered about playing for Tottenham. The likes of, I think Dyer wants to play for Spurs. I just don't think he's very good. Longley didn't look like he could be bothered. Look, it's just my opinion. And I said, morning, Savva, 24% of the chat would sign Maguire. Is it April Fool's Day or Man United fans in the chat? Let's have a look. So the poll, as we are, by the way, smash that like button. Please, let's get to 100 likes in the next minute. We've got 61 likes. People getting up every morning and putting these shows on, then at lunch, then in the evening. Come on, people. The least we can do here is smash that like button. The poll so far is 121 votes. 27% have said yes, and 73% have said no. So an interesting one there. Jay Jr. said we can't play his football with Kane, Son, Kulu, PAH. I agree. I think there's going to have to be shake-ups. But Jay Jr., from the number of WhatsApp groups I'm in, what I'm seeing is so many people are so worried about losing any player we've had for years. Me, I'm excited. And what I mean by that is we need a new era. We need to evolve. I think we've become a very predictable football team in the last 4 or 5 years. We need to evolve. Enru91 has said Maguire is not an Ange player. He does not fit his system. This has a Levy written all over it. He better not sign. I just wonder, guys, do we truly believe that Daniel Levy is going into bat? Like, do we truly believe that Daniel Levy is scouting players? I just don't know if we are. I feel like this could be a massive load of noise for nothing. Simar has said, reality is that most folks have not even seen the Scottish League. This might be a surprise. Good, bad, we'll see. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Louis has said, Savva, I can't watch if we buy Maguire. Foggy Foam said, Maguire is not coming in. No way Ange wants him. I agree with this sentiment. But, you know, it's football. It's what we do as football fans, right? This is what we discuss. On the positive side, Maguire has trophy experience. That he does. Santu, big up with another donation. Always so good to the chat. Always very generous. Thank you very much. Talking of generous, let's see. I've given it 60 seconds. And we're only on 76 likes. It's so tight, people. Get those likes up. 189 of you in here. KNSR said, do you like Daichi Kamada if he'd bring him to the club? Because this manager really fancies Japanese players. Listen, I like Kamada. I think he's a good player. Last I saw was that he was in talks with Milan, no? I like him. I think he's definitely the sort of player we need. Good engine, lively, nimble, gets around the pitch. If anyone can't guess the sort of player that I want now, it is this player. That is what I would like in the Spurs team. Lots of fans seem to really like these ploddy players. I don't like them. It's just me. Foggy Foamer said, Undercar going to Roma while we're linked to Maguire. Absolute clowns. But yeah, I mean, I understand. Why would Undercar come to Tottenham? That's what I'd say first and foremost, Foggy Foam. Why would Undercar come to Tottenham? At the moment, people need to realise we need to build. As much as we know we're a shambles, players and their agents will look in and see that we're a shambles. So I never understand it why fans think these players will come to us. We need to get the younger players, the players that are not on the radar. And at the moment, this guy's got a chance to go and play for a Roma team that have been in 2 European finals in the last 2 years, that are in Europe next year, that he's going to play for Jose Mourinho. He's going to play with people like Paulo Dybala, Pellegrini, Cristante. I feel like there's no comparison at the moment, if I'm completely honest. Big up to you, Daniel Field. Hope you're well. There are now officially 208 people in the chat. Big up and morning to every single one of you. You are all very welcome. Stick some questions in. If you do put a question in, please put the letter Q in front of it. I know it just saves me having to go read through every comment in the chat while I'm trying to talk to all of you. I agree, Brun. It did make more sense to get Maguire when Conte was here in a back three. I agree. Not saying I wanted him, but I agree with the sentiment. Strasbourg Steve has said, Kamada is a top player, huge fan of his, part of many trophy-winning sides for Frankfurt and has made huge contributions. Yeah, good player. Steve, my understanding from what I saw was that he was going to Milan, or at least in talks. But I know Milan seem to be in a massive mess at the moment from what I've seen. They seem to be, Bayern Munich, seem to be having lots of problems with the board and owners and stuff. Simon, listen, I get it. I don't get it. Look, Kane will probably keep it. I don't think Kane is a out-and-out captain that we need, if I'm honest. I think Kane is a leader by example, but I think this club needs a real hard-talking captain. And I don't see it in the squad, if I'm really honest, Simon. I really don't see it in the squad. Now this, I don't know where this has come from, if this is just made up, but Droskini, I'd be all over Ibanez at 30 million. Now, this is a good defender. Watched him play multiple times for Roma. This is a good defender. This is a guy, you'll see, if this guy joined, put him next to Romero and watch how this guy defends and stays on his feet. This guy's a good defender. Sean, I would take Kyogo. Again, I want energy. I want legs. I want players that zip around the pitch. I want subs that come off the bench as well, that get straight into the action and buzzing about. That's what I'm looking for. Let's have a look. Yeah, Gaza went to Rangers. Of course he did. Gaza was superb up there. Top four in a trophy, has said. Harry Maguire makes no sense. Complete opposite of the type of centre-back in an AND system. He cannot play a high line. Bruno's come back and said Maguire's not good in the back four at all unless you park the bus and play two DMs. And that's exactly what we don't want, surely. Surely this is exactly what we've had for the last 4 years under Jose and Conte. I do not want this whole two defensive midfielders again. I find it so negative. Guys and girls, if you haven't already subscribed, please do. We're only a few hundred. Well, we're about 350 away from the 6K. We're flying at the moment. Help me fly. Let's keep going. Let's make this channel big. It's the fans channel. This is the channel where all fans' comments get read out, where I'll answer questions. Please help me get there. Let's have a look. Where are we? Mr. Pox Office said, luckily nothing concrete on Maguire and not the most reliable sources. We can't afford that risk. I agree. Then the flip side, but he's better than Sanchez and Dyer. I think the thing is, Chasey, I mean, there's no need for everyone to be idiots, but I think the thing is, Chasey, he is, but is that enough of a pull? Is he enough of an upgrade on Dyer and Sanchez? Just asking a question, just chucking it out there. Chico has said, I'm in a lecture with AirPods in priorities. Chico, absolutely. This is your education, mate. Tottenham's your education on a Wednesday morning. But no, seriously, take your AirPods out. Education is important. What lecture are you in? I'll see if I can help. What are you studying? Could be something like law. Actually, I did law at college, but it could be something like law. It could be maths. Tell us what you're studying. Barry and Baxter. I like this account. I said, hit the likes, guys. Show some love. Sav, I want Maguire. We can have Maguire. I've not suffered enough. I want to suffer more on earth so I can go to heaven right away. I love that. I love that, Barry. Absolutely. Let's get him in and have Maguire. Have we hit the 100 likes yet? 98 likes. You tight people. Smash the like button and keep subscribing. Yeah, David has said, Savva, we didn't suffer enough. And Maguire now. I know. By the way, some of the questions, if I'm ignoring them, if it seems like I'm ignoring them, I am starring them, which means I will get to them. Philly 2109, big up Phil, part of the Phil army, and said, Kamada is going to AC Milan, I hear, but we do need to build up a realistic profile of the players that Ange will be looking to bring in. I should have taken a breath during that sentence. I do like Kamada, though. Just quickly, let me get to some super chats. Santu, we've done this one, but thank you very much again. Really do appreciate that. Future Music DSR has said, don't really want any United players at Spurs. Interesting. I think a Donny van der Beek would be good if fully fit again under the Postecoglou reign. The way that he played at Ajax. Just a fault. Strasbourg Steve, thank you very much for coming and said, what shows doing today? I got a list of Ange Postecoglou possible signings, my recommendations. I'm not sure what else I'll be doing today. I've got a few things going on in my life today, so I'm not sure when I'll have the time, but I'll let you know, Steve. I'll message you. Let's have a look. Where are we? Perchy's in the house. Big up, Perchy. Do your job. Do some work. He said it's 100% Maguire's agents just chatting him out to clubs. Good morning, mate. Good morning to you as well. Foggy Foreman said they didn't listen to Son when he recommended Kim. Yeah, I mean, if that is what happened, then they didn't. So why would they listen to Kane? Listen, from what I'm reading and what I've heard all about Postecoglou, I can't see that he's the manager that's just going to take a player's recommendation and sign them on that basis. I don't see him as that guy. Phil P in the house said, big up Savva, massive love for the Ric Flair. Absolutely. Always big love for the Ric Flair. Always big love. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry, people. I'll tell you what as well I'm going to do. If anyone wants to see everyone knows I normally do an afternoon video for 10 minutes. You guys tell me what do you want to see a video about today? What would make you guys watch? What do you want to see a video about? It can be as controversial as you like. You know, I don't care. Let me know in the chat what video you want to see. Simara said, even Romero was able to win a World Cup with the right system and defenders around them. Same thing with Maguire. All depends on how you support him. Listen, I do agree with this because everyone knows what I think of Romero, and he did win a World Cup. Pundits and ex-players talk absolute crap. Anyway, kudos, I think it's the same as anything, right? As I said, I used to work for a professional football club, which is full of ex-players that are coaches now. And they all say the same thing, that their opinions are just us. Their opinions are just us. They're football fans that were lucky enough to be good enough to play the game. When people pass off, look, I think when pundits go into detailed analysis, I love it. Like when I watch Rio Ferdinand talk about defending, I love it how he goes into detail. But when people make throwaway comments, it doesn't always mean they're right, does it? If every pundit was right, there'd be no arguments on all these panel shows where the pundits are on. Neville and Carragher wouldn't argue if every pundit was right. So, yeah, I agree with you. K7, I'm sorry to say this, Savva. I could never support Maguire. I hate him. I mean, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? I mean, hate? Are we hating people? Jordan said, get me Lord Slabhead now. Big up, Mr. Ianson. I hope you're well. Alex, I agree. I said, big up, Savva. I'm always surprised that no teams have gone in for Dunk. Mate, I think he's one of the best defenders in the league. He does his job. He's solid every year. You never see him. You never see him making mistakes, do you? You never see all of these compilations of mistakes and him being talked about badly, do you? Yeah. Yeah, Premsy could be outside my house. I'm not sure if anyone saw that yesterday. Morning, Martin. Yeah, life is treating me very well, my friend. I hope you are well. Future Music DSR said perfect time for a complete overhaul. This is it. And I think this is where I think fans need to get to. Fans need to get to this point where they realise this. I saw people last night on Last Word on Spurs saying that, oh, but we wanted, De Zerbi, when nobody wanted De Zerbi before he was at Brighton. I didn't hear any football fans in this country talking about De Zerbi. Oh, but we wanted, but we want Gallardo. Never managed in a European league, in a top European league, just like Postecoglou and can't speak English. I see these things all the time, and I just think it's one rule for one and one rule for another. Alex Dunlop said, if you get Maguire on loan, get United to cover some of the wages, maybe not a bad deal. Yes, I would take Tar from Leverkusen. I definitely would. Big up Mia to the stream. Mia, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Yeah, the fan base now all aligned. We're all in harmony, Mia. Everyone's happy at the appointment and everything is good.
Yeah, I'd love to say that, I'd love it for more people to be on board, but there's these delusions, man. I'm still hearing them. I'm still hearing that we're a massive club and we should have got a massive manager. Like, honestly, I'm like, really?
And are you surprised that even now the decision has been made, people are still saying we should get this guy? And it's like, well, no, hang on. We've got our guy. Like, our guy is in place.
Do you know what? It's sometimes, like when you get some people, when they get something and they're always looking for that one better thing, isn't they? They're always going, oh, but he was better. Although it's unattainable, you've got the thing that you've got. It's still like they want more. They want that extra, you know what I mean? Like they're always pushing for it. And I don't really understand. We've got our man. Support him, man. Just get behind him. If you look into it, right, I've been listening to so many people talk about him and they have absolutely praised him to the max. I've not heard anything bad about this guy. Honestly, it's so like mad that everyone he's worked with. Have you not seen the quotes from Pep, people? Pep's even rating him. Pep's saying what a great manager he is. So if we all rate Pep, why are we not rating Pep's opinion?
Absolutely. This is the thing. I think
when
sense. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, it just don't make any sense. It's just like these illogical, irrational things that people say. They just come out with things because I don't know, it just comes out their head and they say it without actually thinking about what they're saying.
Well, yeah, look, let me, there's lots of questions in the chat, so I'll go through the questions and get your takes on them, Mia. We just talked about Evan Undekar, who plays for Frankfurt and is on a free transfer. And Fabrizio Romano announced last night that Roma have offered him a 5-year contract to join Jose on a free. And just now, I people were saying, oh, we should have got that. And I think, again, this demonstrates to me, Mia, that people are not understanding what a bad state we're in terms of how attractive to players. Now, forget that Jose was our manager, right? Forget that for 1 second if we all can, right? For me, I would say I would look at Roma and see that they're a very settled club that have had a manager in place for 2 years now, have achieved back-to-back European finals, right? And is a more attractive proposition than Tottenham, who are in a mess. Would you agree with that? Because I'm seeing people saying, like Ariel has said, is Roma bigger than Spurs? Where is it? Undekar was achievable. But if you're Undekar, if you're looking at these two clubs objectively, Mia, why are you choosing Tottenham over Roma?
Exactly. I think that people can understand that where we are, like what we can offer a player. So a player's going to see us and think, my God, they're in an absolute disarray at the moment. Like a bigger player who rates himself will back himself to go to a club that's got something about them that's doing something at the moment. With what Ange wants, he wants young, hungry players where they're hungry to play for him and they haven't got that expectation or maybe that thing about them where they're thinking, yeah, I want to go to this club because they're a part of something or they're doing something, That's the difference.
Yeah. By the way, Simar Singh, I'm not going to do this. This isn't my style, I'm afraid. Listen, big up to all the content creators that do just rant. Listen, like Expressions does his thing. He does it very well. He's a very successful man off it. I feel if I suddenly put a video out acting like that, I don't feel anyone, especially in my community that I work with people like Mia and stuff, I feel like they'd look at me and think, what is Savva doing? That is, listen, love me,
you lost
hate
your mind.
Yeah, love me, hate me, think I'm Marmite. I can deal with that, but I will always be true to myself. And if that means I have some run-ins, cool. But I don't think I can do the whole rant thing. Also, I can't do the whole like Rory Jennings thing, coming out with absolutely ludicrous opinions that makes the whole world go, oh, I can't believe you said that. That's not me. Here's a question for you, Mia. Midori Ringo, I love that picture and that name. Brilliant. Love that. I said, with so much change incoming and outgoing, is top 6 a realistic goal next season?
Do you know what? I feel 7th is probably more realistic. 6th, 7th, I would say, is around where we probably will be with Bostoglu in our first season. I think that's reasonable.
Mm. Would you? I mean, next season. Let me carry on from that. Would you be bothered? Like, for example, if you see that he's building a team that because we shouldn't see as many changes next year because we're playing once a week, right? We're not in European football. Would you be so bothered if we finished 10th or 11th, as long as you could see that what he was putting together as a team was going in the right direction, and then we can build upon that next summer?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, if we had 10th or 11th, as long as I see progression, I feel like that's what's important. Although we don't like to compare ourselves or to think about those down the road, look where we were laughing at them for finish 8th and 8th, and then look what the season after followed. So I feel like that we have to be realistic in the amount of time we're giving him. And if we finish 11th, I think that we can't have fans be up in arms about it and crying about it and being over the top about it, because I feel like that we have to give him time. We have to understand that he's going to need that time. So as long as there's progression, I just want to enjoy my football again, Savva. I just want to put on the match and enjoy it. Like,
I think that's the first steps to what is it they say when you're in when you're in recovery. The first steps to recovery, isn't it? It's just the first step is let's by the way, I know as soon as I say this, people will go, oh, you just want to enjoy it, you don't want to win things. First step to winning things surely is that you get a good team, right? Like, surely the two go hand in hand. I don't know many clubs that have been really, really, really bad and then all of a sudden won a trophy,
That's right.
So yeah, I agree with you. I want to enjoy watching Spurs. I'll tell you the stage I want to be at, Mia. I want to be at the stage where it's 2:00 on a Saturday. Let's just assume we're playing on a 3:00 on a Saturday. And that wherever I am, I must rush back. You know what I mean? Like I must get back. Spurs are kicking off. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I'll be honest, I've got to the stage where if I miss the first 15 minutes, do you know what I mean? I'm not really bothered. I know.
Yeah.
And I was never like that, Mia. I had to be in. I had to see the warm up. I had to see it all.
You know what? I've been the same, and my brother, who is a massive Tottenham fan since we were kids as well, he said to me, I feel like I just want to walk away. And I've never heard him say that, ever. No matter how rubbish we've been, I've never heard him say that. And I was shocked. I was like, are you really? What? And he said, yeah, that's how bad it got for him. And that was a lot of people. You can't build a house unless you have foundations. We need to build those foundations first. Otherwise, the house is just going to fall back down again.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a good question from Sean Egan. Said, Savva, do you think Maddison, by the way, if you want a question, do that, put a Q in the front, capital Q, so I know. Otherwise, sometimes I think you're just telling me. Savva, do you think Maddison would have enough dynamism for Ange's midfield? Surely he'd be an upgrade on PEH. I mean, Mia, first of all, for me, obviously very different position to PEH.
Yeah.
For me, I think that James Maddison would sit in the hole behind a striker and has got the intelligence that he wouldn't need to be all over the pitch. I think that is a guy that has his back to goal. Give me the ball. I know how am I going to slow the game down? Am I going to speed it up? Am I going to play balls through the channel? Am I going to retain possession? I think it's a no-brainer if it's doable.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
He's more creative, isn't he? He's not someone, like you say, who does the Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg one. He does a different kind of job. I don't actually rate Maddison. I don't know. I'm a bit unsure about Maddison. I think there's maybe somebody who is better. Although people want Ward-Prowse, I'm not a fan. I feel like he just does free kicks. But I just think I'm not sure about Maddison. But yeah, we need a player in that position, definitely. And I don't think that Ange, Højbjerg and Skip, they don't suit what Ange does. They just don't suit him at all. I can't see either of them working with Postecoglou, if I'm honest.
This is an interesting one. When from Pep, it was just nice words. He didn't rate him out of 10, laugh aloud, but I still back my new manager. Listen, I think there's a way of giving nice words dismissively, and then there's a way of praising.
Absolutely.
And listen, Pep Guardiola. Look, I've seen a lot of documentaries. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, interviews with Ange Postecoglou in the last week or two since we've been linked. And I just think, watch this guy talk. You can tell this guy knows he knows his onions. This guy knows what he is doing. It's just unfortunate. If he was Spanish or French or Dutch or something, Mia, I feel like we'd be raving about this guy.
Yeah.
Like if his name was Postecoglou, do you know what I mean? If he was like, if he wasn't Greek, damn those Aussie Greeks, damn them, us Greeks.
I know. We're taking over, taking over.
It's the noses. It's the noses, Mia. Look, it's the big nose of the Greek.
Do you know what? I said to you the other day, I was lucky. My nose is okay, but I've got some cousins, female cousins as well. Unfortunately, the Greek nose, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. People always say to me, oh, it's not that big. And then I turn to the side and they're like, oh, that is quite a big nose, actually, Savva. Yeah, it's all right. I've dealt with it.
I've got a small nose. It's all right.
Yeah, you have. I haven't. I've got a massive old conker. This is an interesting one. It's not really a question, but Francis Crizzle. I like that name. That's really good. You get some great names. Savva, I can accept Kane leaving, but don't trust the club to use the money for him correctly based on how poorly they use the Bale money. One world-class player who is now at United, the rest were average. Look, Francis, what I'd say here is I get it, right? How we use the money is obviously important. But first and foremost, we can't keep harping back to when we sold Gareth Bale. We're going back a decade ago, maybe over a decade ago that we sold Gareth Bale. I think a decade exactly, whatever it is. We can't just say because we were burnt then that we can't try again. Equally, I think the difference then was, Gareth Bale, the Gareth Bale money then was like nearly a world record fee for a footballer. Now 100 million gets you two players, like two top players. So I think it's a real difference. And look, I don't know. What do you think of this, Mia? Because we keep getting this that they're not going to use it. But the alternative is don't get 100 million for him and don't have any money to spend.
That's the thing. It's just a bit like people want us to be able to have a decent budget for our transfer. So therefore we have to get the money somehow, right? So if we sell Kane, we're going to have to, I know it sounds bad, but we're going to have to try and think differently maybe this time. I know it's hard. I know they've burnt us so many times and I completely understand. But don't forget, Postecoglou likes players that aren't expensive. Levy doesn't like players that are expensive. Is this not just a match? Absolutely matches up. So for me, this is the first time I can be confident. Actually, this is a manager who actually is the philosophy of a Levy. So actually, he can get him good players, not expensive. So I actually think that he will spend it correctly because Postecoglou's got a good eye for young players and talented players. So for me, actually, it works.
The problem we're going to have, Mia, though, is because Postecoglou will buy some players that are under the radar. Our fans will be like, who is this? And this is what we've got to refrain from. We've got to step back and think, hang on, let this guy put a team together that he wants to put, not what we want to put.
Do you know where that comes from as well, Savva? It comes from this whole Danny Rose. He was so arrogant, I had to Google a player like he was some big special player himself that someone didn't have to bloody Google. You think of Messi, who knew who Danny Rose was, for goodness sakes. Like, how arrogant is that? But like, that's the problem, because people always go back to, Danny Rose when he had to Google players. Forget that, man. Forget it. This is a new start. Forget the past. Forget about players that you think you wanted back then. We're not going to get those players. Trust what Postecoglou is going to do, because that's what I've been told by Celtic fans, by fans in Australia, who've all come on my streams and said so. And they're making me so excited. They're like, listen, trust me. You're going to have to trust us. He is so good. And he does get rid of players. He's ruthless. I was watching a thing this morning on TalkSport, and he is a really ruthless guy, man. He'll just toss out players. He don't care. He'll be just like, nope, you're gone. Nope, you're gone. If then you're not good enough, you're gone. So I think that's what we want in there. We want someone who's a bit ruthless. And if you're not good enough, you're gone. I think it's a positive thing.
Absolutely. Sheldrick TV, listen, I hope he goes to Everton. I actually think, I'm not just saying this, I think that's a good move for Everton. I think that's a good signing for Everton, Harry Maguire. I think that for where they are, I think for him working with Big Sean Dyche, who's got the sexiest voice in world football, I think that's a good signing for them. He's up north. Let's let that happen, please, Sheldrick. Simon, I agree with this. And this is in regards to the Roma Tottenham conversation. It's not about bigger. They're currently more successful. And I think this is the thing, Mia. A lot of fans seem to forget that as much as we have ambition as fans and we want to go and buy the top players have ambition. And they want they will look at Spurs right now and go, okay, if I join Tottenham right now, where's my immediate return? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's right.
At least if you join Liverpool and Arsenal, you know there's a chance, right? You know that you're going to be in the mix for something. You join Tottenham, you're joining again at the beginning of a build. What are you know what I mean? What's the lure? That's what people can't seem to understand.
But also, don't forget, we've always been that kind of club, though. When you look at it, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool's, they've always had that above us. Then we've got the Chelseas who've got their money and the Man Cities. So we've always sort of been in that kind of tier, like bracket of that tier, where we're not going to get players above them clubs. We never have and we never will.
Peter Simons has said 10th or 11 and he's sacked. I mean, look, we've given this guy a 4-year deal. I don't see how with the state that the squad is in, with the way we are as a club at the moment, that we could afford. I'm not saying we'll finish 11th or 10th or 11th, Mia, but how could we afford to sack another manager in less than a year? We simply can't, can we?
No, I honestly think, I'm not, obviously this is conjecture, but I feel like that Daniel Levy has woken up. I feel like the look on his face, his body language when he's been in the stadium, I'm quite somebody who likes to read people's body language, although he's quite a hard person to read because he's got really awkward body language. I can't tell he's very awkward looking when he does talk and stuff. But when I look at him in the stadium, when he's comfortable with his wife next to him, he looked like the penny had dropped. To me, he did look like that.
Yeah, I agree. I did a show on this a while back. I think it was which game was it? Was it the Brentford game? I think it was when his wife or his girlfriend or whoever she is grabbed his leg.
His leg, yeah.
And he looked all a bit like it was almost as if to say, I've messed up here. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what have we become?
It's like a comforting gesture, isn't it? To kind of put, because she feels that he is very uncomfortable. He's very he's looking upset or whatever it is. And she was just trying to comfort him. That's like a very comforting gesture. So that's when you know she's feeding off of his emotions. So she knows he's feeling something that we aren't obviously privy to. But you could tell by his face, 100%.
Absolutely. Simar, thank you. Listen, I try and work with level-headed people as well. Obviously, people like me, listen, I'd love to be one of those fans. And growing up until about 15, I probably was. I was in the playground arguing with everyone about Spurs are the best and we're amazing. And then I think as I got a bit older, you realise your pecking order. You do. And I know no one wants to think that. And everyone wants to think we're going to be the greatest club in the world that are going to match Man City. But listen, fans through all levels of the Football League understand where they are. Yeah, people can come up, they can go down. We can go to top 4, we can go back down. But you have to acknowledge there's a lot of other teams that are trying to do what we've been trying to do and have done it more successfully, right? We're the 8th best team in the country as a fact right now. Okay, so that's all I try and do. I just try to be completely honest with that. This is an interesting comment because lots of people are saying this. Sam, we all know Mr. Levy will insist on top 4. I'm expecting Ange to be sacked around February next year. Look, surely, Mia, off the back of what we've just both said there about Levy, there's no way he can look at this squad right now and expect top 4. Surely. No, there's no way.
If you remember back, though, when we first got Poch, he didn't finish top 4 straight away. So if we're going to go by the past and what obviously he's done before, because he wasn't a winning manager, that expectation wasn't there. With Jose and with Conte, there's a different expectation. So I feel like with Ange, he's going back to maybe the Poch expectation more so. Well, I hope so.
I agree. I look at how many managers in their first year came in, and I'm not talking about picking up a squad halfway through the year. How many came in and in year 1 hit top 4? Bearing in mind, only Redknapp, Conte, and Poch have got it, right? So AVB didn't hit top 4. He wasn't sacked immediately. Martin Yole didn't get top 4. He wasn't sacked immediately. God bless the head coach. You've got Harry Redknapp in his first year, picked us up, finished 8th. You know, I feel like if we're going to go by this metric that top 4, if you don't get top 4, you're sacked. We're going to be sacking managers every year for the next decade. Right?
You know, I feel like that's a bit of a fallacy built up by fans. I feel like if you look like you've just stated, we've had plenty of times where we haven't finished top 4 and they haven't been sacked. But it's something that people build up in their minds and then they spread it and say, they keep saying it and saying it. And if you say it enough, people are going to say that's like a fact, aren't they? Yeah. They're going to say that's factually correct, when I don't think that it actually is. I'm not having to go at you, obviously, Mark. I'm just saying in general, people sometimes, they keep saying one thing enough and then people will then say, oh, yeah, it must be fact because enough people have said it.
I agree. And as coming a lovely picture of Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa there, said, facts, if he was Spanish, tanned, long-haired, slim, wearing Stone Island and skinny jeans, our fans would be lapping it up. Respect, Uncle Angelos. I agree. Unfortunately, that's the way the world is right now, right? Stuart, I don't know who we're referring to. Let me know. If we're referring to Levi Enoch, let me know, because I would like to answer that, but I don't want to answer it if that's not what you're referring to. So let me know. Daniel Hammett has said Kane needs to go this summer. I know he's our best player, but we can't let him leave on a free and lack the funds to invest back into the squad. It would be so detrimental to the squad moving forward. Obviously, I don't want to get into a whole hour about Harry Kane, but I think this is a good point, right? That, I mean, I'd rather have the money to give to a manager that builds and can get maybe 5 or 6 good players that are under the radar for 100 million, rather than give that 100 million to a manager that needs to buy 2 top players and think that Spurs will get those 2 top players right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this is probably actually a good time to sell Kane. I think that because of the way that Postecoglou works, I think that he can get the best out of that money, if I'm honest. I think he'll get the best out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, lots of people in the chat saying, oh, why are we acting like Spurs don't have money? I've never suggested that. But as I talked about on my show last night, just having money doesn't mean you can attract the best players. You've got to have something to attract them with. And at the moment, you've got a club that has just got a brand new manager, no director of football, the same owners that everyone seems to hate. Yeah, you've got Harry Kane who might be leaving. Hugo Lloris wants out. You've got no defence, no creativity. And everyone's going, oh, top players will come. Will they? Would you? Would and you also, guys?
Do you want to have players that you just pay loads of wages to and make them, and they're mercenaries? They don't actually want to be at your club. Is that what people want? Like, I don't understand that logic. You don't want that. Surely you want players who want to be at your club. And we're not saying there's no money at the club, but you've got to understand how it works. We're not a City. We're not a Chelsea. So we have to somewhat understand that we can't work in the way and on that level. We have got money, but we have to make sure we utilise it correctly, which we haven't been doing. We've been buying players and wasting money. So now this is the time that we're going to have to stop doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key thing is look, for the last, we've not operated like this for a long time. Sorry, we've not operated in that market where we just go out and buy the top players. I don't know why people suddenly think we will. The moment we should have done that was when we were second. Yeah, when we had Poch and we had that really good 11, that was the moment that you go, right, look at our team, look what we're doing. We want you to come and join this squad because we're in the Champions League now. We've got a really good team. The manager's bonded the club. All the fans are on side. That's when you strengthen for me from a position of strength. I don't think when you're at your lowest, you can just turn around 2 top players like Bastoni. I'm not going to go through that one again, though, Mia, and just go,
yeah, let's
join our club. Lots of different comments coming in here. It is crazy.
People say like we're the 8th richest club, but what you've got to understand is that's money coming in. What you don't understand is there is money coming out of the club. There isn't just money coming in. You do know that wages have to be paid for the whole entire club. and bills have to be paid for the whole entire club. Just because you earn that money and you're the 8th richest doesn't mean that you're not paying out big money. We lost money last year. We've lost money. We weren't in like the black, we were in the red, basically. We were like obviously lost money, as clubs do when they're running this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as well, I would say people, look, what we've got to understand is, as I said, that there is the food chain, and you have to understand that if these players are that great, if we go in for them and other top clubs do as well, the top clubs that have got something to offer, more stability. Like right now, if we went head to head with Liverpool for a player, why is someone choosing Tottenham Hotspur over Liverpool? And I know our hearts want it to be Spurs. I know that our support of Tottenham wants it to be Spurs, but every other fan and every other footballer in the world is going to go, no, I'm going Liverpool. And I know that's horrible. I know that's horrible, but they're a big club, right? I can apply that to Chelsea. Chelsea right now have just finished below us, but you're going to go Chelsea over Spurs because everyone knows Chelsea will buy their way out of this. Everyone knows they're the most decorated football club in this country for the last 2 decades. So that there has to be the want from both the player and the club for it to happen. It can't just be that Spurs go and cherry pick, oh, we want that player because we're really rich.
No, that's right. It's like I'm going to go over the Bastoni conversation all over again. Like, honestly, when we had that conversation and then we had it again, I was just like, what are we doing? People not understanding. If a player doesn't want to come to your club, you cannot make them. It doesn't matter how much you offer them. And if you've got certain managers or you've got whatever, they're not going to come if they don't want to come. And if they choose another club because they feel like they're bought into what they're going to offer, you can't make them come to you. You just can't.
No, absolutely. For example, look, Alexis McAllister's just signed for Liverpool for 40 to 45 million. Could Spurs afford 45 million? Of course. Do you reckon if we had called up Alexis McAllister's agent and said, hey, mate, see you're playing for a really well-organised Brighton team and you see your guys just won the World Cup. Would you like to come and play at Tottenham Hotspur? By the way, we've got no director of football. We've got to give about 12 players this window. We've got to get 12 in. Would your guy like to join? No, I'll go and play for Klopp. It's all right.
Do you know what they would do? They would laugh. They'd be like, ha, 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 and then just put the phone down.
Exactly. And I think this is the problem. For me, what Spurs have to get back to, Mia, this is only my opinion. I think Spurs need to get back to the days where we were getting the players before they were at that level. So when we bought in Gareth Bale, when you bought in Berbatov, Modric, Aaron, a Michael Dawson, a Tommy Huddleston, these players.
Dele Alli was a young player that we didn't
exactly.
No one knew of really.
All really good for us, those people that we just mentioned.
Yep.
None of them came from top teams with massive reputations. So Modric and Berbatov, cool. They came here for a few years, used as a stepping stone and moved on. I'm cool with that. That's what I think we need our scouts to be doing again, going to those countries and going, where's the next Modric who's 20? Yeah, where's the next Berbatov who's a good striker, but a lot of the world don't know about him because he doesn't play in one of the major European leagues. I think the moment we try and get them look, the biggest example I can give is right now. Casado at Brighton was 4 million 2 or 3 years ago. 4 million. He's now in the market at 90 million and is going to be in a bidding war between Arsenal, Chelsea, and possibly Man United. If Spurs entered that bidding war, we'd be laughed at.
Yeah, we would.
Right.
Literally. Do you know what it's like? It's like when you're in year 7 and you try and go up to the year 11 boys and try and play football with them. They're all just going to be like, no.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good point, Bryce, as well. Yeah, Poch was here for 6 years of that 22. Absolutely. Let me get to some super chats. I keep hearing this. Savva Talksport have broken news about Harry Kane. What news have they broken? I keep hearing this. And I'm checking Ornstein and Romano's page to see if they've broken anything. I can't see anything on Romano's page. I'm not saying he's the only person in the world, but what news has been broken? Can anyone else confirm this? I'm pretty sure it would be all over all my WhatsApp groups if this was the case. Hashtag just saying. Guys and girls, please keep liking. We're doing well for likes today. We're on 143 likes. There's 325 of you in here. please keep subscribing as well. I'm flying towards that 6K at the moment.
And if you fancy giving me a subscribe, I'm near to my 450.
Where can people find you, Mia?
Spurs Between the Lines. Go over. I'm a sensible, level-headed fan. I do try and listen to everybody's opinions as well, but I like to use logic a lot, Savva. Like, I'm a very logical person. So when I speak, I always come from a place of logic. I like to use facts. I don't like to use conjecture. I don't like to use fallacies. I like to actually just stick to the facts of what we know and give you opinions as well, but don't use non-facts. Basically, I just think it's good to have good conversations using what we actually know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me just get to some super chats as well. By the way, if I do miss
I've got the breaking news, by the way.
Go on.
All the breaking news is Harry Kane will feature prominently in the new kit launched tomorrow. There we go, guys.
Oh, hang on. Let me take a lie down. That is hard-hitting news, that. Look, people, if I do not read out every comment, please don't get annoyed at me. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of people in here, and I can't get to every comment. Let me get some super chats, and I've got some questions. First of all, Wolves Finland, big up, my man. I hope you are well. As said, the UEFA Champions League format, 24-25, no groups anymore, just one giant 36-team UEFA Champions League table, 8 games each. Wow, can you imagine that?
That would be mad.
Yeah, that would almost take over the leagues, wouldn't it? I mean, yeah. But thank you very much for putting that through. I've got another super chat here from Loves Music. Big up Loves Music, big supporter of the channel. Has said, Levy is a super smart businessman. If the director of football and Scott Munn both have the same nous as he does, but in the football world, then we have a chance. That's a way of looking at it. We can only hope. Love Music has come back in and said, I can't see Enoch selling anytime soon. Me neither. And I always get cussed for not going to protests, but I just don't think companies that know they can get £4 billion are going to just sell because fans are unhappy at their business.
The thing is, they will sell when they sell. Look at Newcastle. Like, honestly, that's not how it works. They're not going to see it like that at all. As long as their business is still going to be worth a lot of money, they're not going to sell it because it'll make more and more money. If they feel like it can increase more, why would they sell it yet?
Mm-hmm. Strasbourg Steve has said, my conspiracy theory, Spurs versus Arsenal will be the first game of the season, either 12:30, Saturday kickoff for the Asian market, or Friday because Arsenal always get their very first game. Steve, thank you very much for the super chat. Look, listen, if it comes out Spurs v Arsenal, I don't want Arsenal first game of the season, if I'm completely honest. But thanks for putting that in our heads now. No one wants to start.
Has he been on the Malibu again, Steve? You've been on that Malibu?
Steve is sponsored by Malibu. Thank you very much, Steve. Here's a good one. Here's another case where people don't actually listen to what you're saying. So he said, so one season out of the top 6 mean Brentford and Brighton are bigger and better clubs. What happened to not being reactionary works both ways. I don't think I ever said this morning, and please Mia, put me in my place if I did, I don't think I ever said that these clubs were bigger or better than Spurs. What I said was, if you're talking about McAllister, is if you are going to leave a very cohesive Brighton team that are doing well and on the up, surely you leave that to go to a team where you think you might challenge for trophies. I don't think you'd leave that to join Tottenham, who are in a mess.
It's not taking a step. Like, you want to take a step up in your career. You don't want to take a step backwards. And that's how he would see it, because Brighton are doing very well. They're very organised. They've got their shit together, basically. And Tottenham haven't. So why would they come to Tottenham? It's a step down, surely.
But the problem is, if you use logic like that, people just hear what they want to hear, Mia, that I've said Brighton and Brentford are better clubs than us. No.
Yeah.
Brighton and Brentford are in very good moments in their club's histories. Yeah, we are not at the moment. You've got, it's all context. Look at Brentford and Brighton where they were 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago compared to where we were, compared to what the team we had. We were in Champions League finals. We had one of the best 11s in European football. Now look at they were down here, we were up there. Now it's gone like this. Now I'm not saying it's going to stay like that forever, but let's not knock those clubs that are doing really well. For the money they've got, for the budgets they've got, for the size of their stadiums, what a fantastic job those two clubs have done. Then you compare it to what we've done, Yeah, I think you people have got to listen. Garage Classics, you always do this. Let's just quickly see what other we've got loads of questions here. Loads of questions.
And
Just
also,
checking up.
someone's saying that there's love on for this, like for Levy. No, we're just being realistic about Daniel Levy. Like, I think there's plenty to bash that guy over the head with, absolutely. But what I think that we've got to be careful is not doing it unnecessarily when there's things that he are beyond his control in some senses. So when we lost on penalties to Man United, was that Daniel Levy's fault that we didn't win that trophy, or was it the players who didn't play good enough in that game and then lost on penalties? Those little minute things, I know they're just minute, but people bring it up a lot. So that means that we could have won a trophy. And that's not necessarily, Joe, it's not always as black and white, clear cut. There's always fine margins. And I feel like people bash him over the head for the wrong things, bash him over the head for the correct things.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing about this is this comment here makes me laugh. So Taku Bebby has said, I'm not taking this food chain analogy. Okay. Newcastle sign players who get into every lineup except Man City. Acting like we have 0% chance of signing any top player is disingenuous. Right now, Taku, let's break this down. This is the problem. Context. If Right, Newcastle just got taken over and are the richest club in world football. Newcastle have the richest owners in the world, right? Newcastle can go to these players and say, hey, this is our plan, right? In 3 years, we're going to be trying to win league titles. Yeah, in 2 years, we're going to be in Champions League. In 1 year, Europa League. They've surpassed that. But they've got something to sell to their players. They have owners that will put in a lot of money and a plan. They have owners that came out and said, within 10 years, we want to win a league, right? They put timeframes on it. Spurs don't have those owners, right? So again, I ask you, if Spurs go toe-to-toe with Newcastle right now to try and buy a top player, are they going to join Newcastle, who are going like that, with all the money in the world, or are they going to join Tottenham Hotspur that have been going like that? I know you don't want to hear it. I know you don't like context, Taku, but I don't. Taku, I'll tell you what, do me a favour. Put in the comments for me, give me a list of 5 top players Spurs could sign. 5 top players, and we'll go through them.
And also, I think it's really funny that people say this now in hindsight, because how many of us, or not me, because I always thought that Eddie Howe was a good manager personally. I've always rated him and said he was good.
I wanted
but
him.
how many of us would have turned down Eddie Howe and said, oh no, oh not for me? How many of the players in Newcastle realistically would you view before taken out of that team that were already there? How many? I bet you it ain't many.
And have
That's
they,
the problem.
Mia, they signed well, but have they signed any top players that literally walk into every club? I don't think they have.
I don't think so. No, I don't think
they've
so
signed.
either.
I think they've signed sensibly. I think Dan Burn, top signing. Spurs fans would have absolutely turned their nose up at that.
Of course
Spurs fans did turn their nose up at Botman, right? Many Spurs fans said, no, we don't want Trippier back, right?
Yeah.
Lots of Spurs fans, you know, I remember people in the summer coming onto my show going, oh, Isak's going to be a massive flop. Okay. So which player, Taku, have Newcastle bought that is a top player that gets into every lineup in the Premier League except Man City? I think your comment is disingenuous, not me saying that we can't sign top players.
Really think some of those players would get into really when like a Chelsea team, an Arsenal team? Probably not. Like I can't see that. A Liverpool team, unlikely. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that people rate these players after the fact. Now that Newcastle finished above us and finished top 4, now they're all being highly rated and doing it in hindsight.
See, this summer is the summer I think they'll go and get a couple of marquee signings.
Yeah, me too.
And you've got to think, right? No one thought they'd get top 4. They're ahead of schedule, which is worrying for the rest of the league. And if they go and land a couple of marquee players, you know why it will be, Taku? Because it will be they're turning around and saying, by the way, we're going to sign you, we're going to sign him over there, we're going to sign him over there, right? And we are going to go for it. Spurs will go, all right, do you want to join us? Right, why? Well, the next 7 players we buy after you are all going to be like 21-year-olds who it levels, absolute levels. Phil P, another Greek brother, has said, I'm really ambitious for the club, but we need to be realistic now. Amen. Ideally, we need to be the English Dortmund, offer players a stage and a platform, and we can grow by doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comment of the day. Comment of the day. Absolutely. And I don't understand, Mia, how so many people can't see this.
No, neither can I. It's just,
I don't understand.
do you know what it is? A lot of fans believe we're a bigger club than what we are. That's the problem. A lot of people got this sense of grandeur, which I don't really understand, to be honest with you. Like, sort of know your place, man. Know where we're at. We're just not that club.
Yeah, no, we're not, and I think a lot of people have got to really rein it in a little bit. I know, I do feel that people get confused by that little spell in our history where we made Champions League quite a lot. Because if you actually look at our history as a club, we're not that club. We're not, and the only way to become that club is to get what Newcastle just got, is to get what Chelsea have got, is to get what Man City got, what Man U will potentially get if they get the Qatari owners in. You're not getting that with a businessman that runs it as a business rather than a football. You're not. I'm sorry, you're just not getting it. Let's get to some questions. Just check and see I haven't missed out anything. There's a lot of comments here. There's a lot of questions. Let's start with a few of them. Simon has said, would you have Kai Havertz as a Kane replacement or Sonny as our number 9?
No.
To both?
It's hard. I think there's better players out there that could replace a Sonny and a Kane.
Yeah, I think in terms of playing Sonny as a number 9, I think it could work in the right system where he just plays off the shoulder. But if you've got a manager that wants to play link up and involves the front man for that, then Sonny is not your guy. I'm not being horrible. He is not that guy, is he? Back to goal, link up, bringing others in, swiveling. So I think this is going to be really interesting. Look, as I said yesterday on another show, I don't think Kai Havertz is a bad player. I just don't know what he is. I'm not sure what he is. He's technically good, but I don't know where he fits into any formation. So I wouldn't take him, no. And it looks like Real Madrid are going to get him anyway. Let's have a look. Here you go. K7 has said, how much would Lewis Dunk cost from Brighton? What do you reckon he would cost in the transfer market, Mia? Knowing how Brighton operate.
Oh, do you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't have a clue. I haven't really looked at how much, because I've said about Lewis Dunk before, but I don't know how much he would be worth. Do you know that? It's hard because nowadays players get so overpriced. Like, it's really hard to judge what he might be worth. 60?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I reckon they charge that. I think, look, people want centre halves. This guy's a top centre half who, for me, should be playing. This guy should be playing week in, week out for England. If I'm really honest, the fact that Dyer and Maguire getting above this guy is ridiculous, truly baffling. But listen, Brighton are not mugs. They know what they're doing. They know how to sell a player. They know how to get the right price. They are a very immaculately well-run club. Garage Classics has come in again. And this is what I love. Like, it's literally like Garage Classics. I could say happy Wednesday to you. You'd find a way to make it Thursday. This is the sort of person you are. Who's to say Trippier won't have a crap season coming up? I don't know what that's got to do with anything. What has that got to do with anything, right? First of all, I never said he couldn't have a crap season coming up. I don't know why he would. I don't know why all of a sudden Kieran Trippier would go from having a brilliant year to really, really crap in a team that is only going that way. One good season doesn't mean he has been a quality signing. Well, he has been a quality signing for them, hasn't he? He's joined them. To be fair to him, he took the plunge and joined them when they were in a relegation battle, joined them, and has now been part of of the best defence in the Premier League, if I'm not wrong. Either them or Man City were. What I don't understand how you're managing to sorry, Mira, I don't get this. How are we managing to turn the Kieran Trippier situation into a negative? Only a Spurs fan could do this.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Do this.
He's a quality player, and now he's played for Newcastle. So many Tottenham fans are like, "Oh, we should have got Trips back," even though they didn't want Trips when he did go.
It makes me laugh, honestly. Like, if somebody said right now, I'm not even going to answer that. What a stupid question. Would I have a problem with Kim Jong-un taking over Spurs? Keep it sensible, please. Where are we? There's a couple of super chats. Shafay, Sajad, big up. Thank you very much for the support. Said Savva, here's the start for you to start saving to buy the club in 1,000 years. If I'm alive in 1,000 years, then I have defied all humanity and logic and the world. I hope I'm not. I hope I never get to 1,000 years old. I can't even run, and I'm 40, so I don't know what I'd be like when I'm 1,000. But thank you very much.
Those heads in a jar. That's all you'd be, like robot body.
Yeah. I'd be like taxidermy on someone's wall. Loves Music has said it's all about the J&A League, baby. Thank you, Loves Music. Really appreciate it. We're going to go for another 15 minutes, by the way. We're gonna close at 11:30. Dara Cloak, big up Dara. I think I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. I said, whose fault is it that top players won't come to the club? Who brought us into this extreme? It's Levy and Ninic. We need to stop defending Levy and Lewis around the community. Dara, I don't disagree with you. I don't. What I am doing, though, is I'm seeing less and less people defend the owners. I'm seeing less and less people defend them. So I agree with you. And of course, I've never suggested that we can't attract top players and it's not Levy's fault. I truly believe that they missed the boat on this. But we are where we are. It is what it is. And as much as we bitch and moan about that, we can't change it right now. We can only try and build. And it's horrible to say, but that's where we are. Francis Christmas said, Savva, Mia asked you this. When do you think Spurs will sign most of the players they want? At the beginning of the window or at the end?
In the middle?
In the middle. We're going to sign them in the middle.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because last season in the summer, we was all like, oh my God, we can't believe we've done it so quickly at the end, like when it was in the transfer window. So I don't know if he will, it's down to Postecoglou if he will be looking into players quickly and basically saying, right, this is the one I want, this is the one I want, and being able to actually go out and get them. So I suppose it's all down to Postecoglou and how quickly he decides on what players, if he scouts any players and names any players that he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Mia, Daniel Hammett has asked, if you had to guess, how much do you think our budget will be to spend on players this summer, given we are in an overhaul mode? And I'm guessing this all comes down to, Mia, is first of all, what's the number they've put in front of him before sales? And then what are they going to allow him to spend from sales? And you'd like to think it would be 100%, but what do you reckon?
Oh, do you know what? Before sales, maybe about 80 million, I reckon. But if after sales, then that's obviously a bit more. I'd hope to think that it would go up to like 120, something like that. Because don't forget, we've got a lot of players to sell. Like if you think of Lo Celso and a Højbjerg, they're not bad money we could probably get for them. Mm-hmm. So they're players that you can think about that you would get money, even if we get a small amount for Ndombele. So we probably have got a few players that we could get a little bit of money for.
Absolutely. And by the way, just look at this. If everyone can see this, Liverpool just signed Alexis McAllister for 35 million. Crazy. Now that is a signing and a half at 35 million. Also, you can see there that PSG have scheduled talks with Marcus Thuram. And this is why when I just see names thrown around, like, oh, we should just go and get Thuram, we should get this. The moment a big boy comes in for the... you just have to bow out. Where are we? Look, good signing for Liverpool. Really think that's a good signing. I think they'll get another midfielder or two in there as well. They've got a lot of forwards that score goals. I think they'll be right back up there next year, me. I really do.
So how much do you think we're going to have to... How much do you think we put in front of Ange?
I reckon it'll have... Look, first of all, the number we're talking about, does that include the money that we need to spend on Porro?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? If we buy Kulu, does it... This is why I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go against the grain here and say I don't care how much it is. Because last year, I think everyone was going, oh, my God, look how much we've spent. It don't matter how much you spend if you spend it wrong. For me, if you give 100 million to Postecoglou and he can get 7 or 8 players on frees and 10 million here, 15 million there from countries that we don't know about, but players that he wants, I'm cool with that. I am cool with that, because I've seen us spend 60 million on Richarlison, 60 million on Ndombele, 35 million at the time, which was a lot of money for Eric Lamela. We spent 32 million on Emerson Royale, 40 odd million, depending on the Lamela either way, for Brian Hill, 45 million for Lo Celso. So I'm not one of these that thinks it's about how much. I think it's about how you spend it. That's just me, Mia.
Yeah, no, it's important how we spend it, because that's been the problem the whole time, is that we're not spending it correctly. We spend money, but it's just we do not spend it correctly. Someone just put this in the group chat, Savva. Hearing that Kane is weighing up his options and wants to stay in England, Poch wants him and Kane and Kane's considering it. Cannot see Levy selling them for even 150 mil. But if Madrid make a bid public, anyone else that wants him to go has to go public too. Him going there would be top Judas. Hope my source is wrong.
Look, I hear so many things like this. I did read that, by the way. I've seen so many things like this that I just don't know anymore. I truly believe, though, if Real Madrid offered like 120 million, you can't turn that down for a guy with 1 year left on his contract. You
absolutely
can't.
Not.
You can't say
Mad.
150. Like it. I think that would almost be. That would almost be more negligible than some of the other things that this man has done at this football club. I think that would be absolutely terrible.
I think so as well. But people not understanding how important that money is, because imagine you can give that extra money to Postecoglou to do what he wants with, knowing that he is able to get a lot of players for that money. That's just, you could get so many players to replace Kane, because you can't replace Kane, don't get me wrong, but to do a Kane job, but get 3 or 4 players to do that.
Mm. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Listen, as I've said, I reckon this will be 10 to 12 players going out by hook or crook. And I think we'll get in 10 odd players. I think this is going to be a massive summer. But again, I'll go back to what I said at the start of the show, Mia. I think it all depends on what those 10 players are, because fans will be expecting massive names. And I don't think it's not that. I don't think it's going to be that. For example, that Kyogo at Celtic, people are like, would you take Kyogo? And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I would. Yeah. I think like this squad needs forwards. We need quick players. I see a lot of other clubs in the Premier League bring quick, nimble players off the bench that go and cause havoc. We don't. I like that. I want to see that. I think that's the sort of player that we would turn our nose up because he's Japanese, because he's played in Scotland. I look at that player and go, I'd like you in my squad. I'm not saying you have to start every game, I'm not saying it has to be 90 minutes every week, but I would love a player like that in our squad.
And do you know what else? If we bring players that already know Postecoglou, know his system, isn't that even better? Because then he would integrate straight away into what Postecoglou wants, and he would know what he wants.
You would think so. You would absolutely think so. Guys and girls, we're going to go for another 7 minutes. We are 20 likes away from the 200. Please smash the like button and please keep subscribing to Mia at Spurs Between the Lines. A really good content creator. No BS is how I would, if anyone asked me, Mia. Sorry, if that's no BS is what I would say from Mia. Always good to stream with because you get level-headed analysis. You don't get the hype. You don't get all the heart which can rule the brain, right? You get level-headedness. So 7 minutes, please keep subscribing. Please keep liking. Subscribe to Mia as well. There is, that's a great point, by the way. Bringing in players that he knows. And a player I like that Matt O'Reilly at Celtic that I think they picked up from, somebody in like League One or something. But I've watched him play. I like him. I like that sort of player is me. Can they step up? Who knows? Who could have said Dele Alli could have? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Who said Matoma could have stepped up from the league he was in and come and, so I just think we've got to be realistic. And my worry is this, Mia. My worry is if we bring in 10 players, first of all, they're not going to be 10 players that literally all go into the starting 11. It's not going to be like we just have a brand new starting 11. But I think the moment one of the players doesn't work, you're going to get, oh, it was a Levy signing. That was a Levy signing because he didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not every signing can work out, can they?
No, when you look at players in all other teams as well, I think someone put the percentage, I can't remember how much it was, but only a certain amount of percentage works out in over the whole league. And I think I think it's less than 50%. And that's over the whole league. So it isn't just Tottenham. People just assume it is just Tottenham, but it ain't. A lot of players go, I've got friends who support Man United, and they've had plenty of players that don't work out. Plenty. Look at Maguire. They paid all that money for Maguire and he didn't work out. Imagine if we paid that money for Maguire and he didn't work out, how our fans would go.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Just quickly, by the way, Daniel Wright, I think, said, can someone please explain what purple and gold colours are? So you're referring to this, right? The purple and gold. So the purple and gold is purely for, from what I understand, is purely for rhyming reasons. Purple and gold until Spurs are sold. That is the motto. Unless I've got that wrong, I'm pretty sure that is the motto. Yep. Purple and gold until Spurs are sold. I don't think the purple and gold actually has anything to do with Tottenham. I think it just rhymes. And
I suppose purple is one of our colours because we do have that we've had that as our away colour.
God, yeah. Do you remember those kits? That was lovely.
I love that kit. They're my favourite kits. I absolutely love the purple because when I see other clubs have pink, I'm always really jealous, and I like purple as well. So yeah, I love the old kits with the purple.
Yeah. And I think it looks quite nice, the yellow and gold, not just on my logo. I think it looks good. I think the yellow and purple looks good. By the way, I'm going to bring up this comment, right? Again, this guy is, look, dude, you've got to grow up. I don't get this. Every signing that everyone else makes is perfect and everything we do is crap. Savva logic, big up. Garage Classics, do you want to come on for 5 minutes and talk me through this concept? Because I feel like when people like you say this and you email my Football Heritage TV email address to ask me questions, then you say things like this about me, which anyone who knows me would know this isn't true. I'll be blatantly honest. If another club makes a bad signing, I'll say it. Yeah. If we make a good signing, I'll say it. But this is just absolutely hyperbole. And what you're trying to do is belittle me in front of all of my subscribers and followers. So if you want to be a troll and you want to be a clown, I've got no problem with it. Come on, do it face to face. Because at the moment, what I just see for you is you're a scared little boy who doesn't understand football that needs to put me down and lie about things that I've said. What signing did I say that was perfect that another club had done? Sorry, I just, I will call these people out me. I don't like being lied about. I absolutely hate it. So if you want to man up a little bit, if you really want to man up and grow a pair, I'll put the link in the chat. You can come on for 5 minutes and tell me why I think everyone is crap. By the way, I think Spurs have made some good signings. I think Bentancur was a good signing, right? I think Jed Spence for the future, by the way, could be a good signing. Right. I think when Spurs used to make loads of good signings, we went through some of them earlier. Danny Rose, Carl Walker, Vertonghen out of Vireld, Dembele, Wanyama, Dele Alli for the 3 years that he was good was a fantastic sign. I can go forever. Berbatov, Modric, Van der Vaart, Bale, Scott Parker, Sheringham, Anderton, Popescu, Dumitrescu. I mean, it's really sad to say. Garage Classics, listen, look, I don't want to meet up with trolls online. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm not an idiot, right? So unless you've been on my show and I see your face and I know who you are and what you're about, I'm not going to just randomly meet you, am I? I'm not an idiot, mate. Anyway, listen, oh, God, grow up. I'd love a gyros. I've had one for years. Look, we are going to end the show there. I think when we start getting fans like Garage Classics that start doing that, you kind of know it's the end of the show when people are turning into children. At the end of the day, I always offer everyone Mia the chance to come on, have the debate with me. I want to see people, if people want to tell me I'm lying, or said something, come onto my channel and I don't get, why have I got no thick skin? I offer everyone to come on. Why have I got no thick skin? Surely I'm offering the debate.
I'll tell you what it is. I think a lot of people don't realise, as content creators, we're just giving our opinions and voicing how we feel about the club and what we think. And people, like, honestly, like you say, they don't listen to what you're saying. They twist your words continuously in the chat. And it can be really frustrating when you're reading stuff that's complete lies. Like when people say, I'm a Levy lover, it really winds me up. And sometimes I do snap because I'm like, that's not the truth. Like, if you actually listen to what I say, I try and bring some sense and logic to it. So actually, I said I want Levy gone because I don't think they can take us any further. But do I think it's going to happen? No. So I'm actually kind of like realistic about it. Doesn't mean that I absolutely love Daniel Levy. But people want to hear what they want to hear. And it's so frustrating when people say those things continuously about you and spread lies, because that's what they are. They're twisted your words and spreading lies about you.
Listen, I've just put the link in the chat only for Garage Classics. If you want to come on, have an adult debate. But all of this, I'll drive to you now for a discussion, is weird, mate. That is really, really weird behavior. Asking for my postcode, saying you're going to drive to me is really, really weird, mate. I'm not worried of you. I'm not scared of you, but it's weird behavior, right? Come on the show, talk, or don't. But when you start talking like this, it is really, really, really weird, mate. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Absolutely weird behavior. Listen, Mia, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mia, for coming on. I've really enjoyed it until that guy ruined it at the end. My fault for bringing it up, to be honest. My fault for bringing up the comment. Look, we are going to leave it there. Please get over to Mia and support Spurs Between the Lines. What have you got coming up? What can people expect from your show?
I do my lives 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays. But I've also next week got somebody actually quite good coming on, quite a big content creator that I've managed to get on my show. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to say who it is yet, but yeah, keep an eye out for that, because I think that's going to be a really good one, obviously, to bring to you guys. But I also do other analysis, like I've done a breakdown of tactics with Ashmatic. I've done a bit more about that, the club, and player power with someone called Colin, who's got his own channel, who's really good because he's quite knowledgeable about stuff like that, because he's worked in with clubs and stuff, so he knows quite a lot. So I do different things as well, because I like to be like investigative journalism a little bit as well, like find out people's opinions and listen to other people, because I think it's really important that we do listen to other people. Even if you don't agree with them, it's good to understand where they're coming from.
Absolutely. Listen, please get over. Please get over there and show some love and support for Mia's channel. And listen, we'll be back later on. Be doing a couple of videos. I don't know if I'm going to do another live, but I'll be doing a couple of videos. Who knows? Spurs might break some news that makes me spontaneously jump onto my laptop, my PC and stream. But Mia, thanks very much. I'll catch you in our WhatsApp group. And everybody else, as always, here is a video of a team being successful.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's